Good morning. Happy Monday if you're watching this live. We're going to be jumping into a new trial that has already started, but I really don't know much about it, and I'm hoping with all the other trials that we've been watching, maybe you haven't seen it either. And I figured we'll watch this in the mornings leading up to Lori Vallow's trial, which is usually like 12:45 my time. So we have about 2 hours and 20-ish minutes until she comes on. But the nice thing is that since we are behind when we watch, we can skip through all of their many breaks during the day. So that's always a good thing because some of these breaks take forever. I'm gonna go ahead and get it up. We are watching the Jose Morales trial. He is accused of killing his ex-girlfriend, and they had a baby together, and she is missing and has been missing. So, not good. Not good at all. But that's literally all I know about it. So hopefully it will be interesting to watch, and you guys will enjoy it too. Enjoy it as in interesting. It sounds like it's going to be an awful story with details coming out. All right, let me know if you need the sound up or down. Let's start.
Together to day one of this case. We're starting with the first witness who was called, the victim's employer. Here we go.
In December of 2019, did you know a woman by the name of Christine Holloway?
Yes.
How did you know Christine Holloway?
She was my employee.
And do you know the child that she had? Was it a boy or a girl?
A girl.
And do you know what she named it?
Vanessa. Yeah.
And did you know who Vanessa's father was?
Yes.
And do you know that person's name?
Jose.
And is that the Jose you knew as the father of Vanessa Morales?
Yes, Vanessa looks just like him.
And after Vanessa was born and while Christine was at work, do you know what happened to Vanessa? Where would Vanessa be while Christine was working?
She was at the daycare as well.
So I just want to be sure that I'm understanding you. When Christine went back to work after Vanessa's birth, did Vanessa become a student or in care at the daycare center?
Yes.
So when Christine was at work, would Vanessa be with her at work?
Yes.
And was it always like that? Was baby Vanessa always with Christine?
Yeah, baby Vanessa was in her mom's classroom in the infant room.
That sheet showed us that she was due at work Monday morning following that long weekend at 8:30. And was 8:30 her scheduled start time?
Yes.
Now, during the time that you knew Ms. Holloway, would she show up at 8:30 to begin her shift?
No, Christine pretty much always came early.
What time would Christine normally get to work when she was due in to work by 8:30?
Around 8:10, 8:15.
And when she arrived, at least after Vanessa had been born, would Vanessa be with her?
Yes.
And did there come a point in time on Monday, December the 2nd of 2019, where you were expecting Miss Holloway for work and she did not show up?
Yes.
And do you recall at what point did you sort of become aware that Christine had not shown up for work yet?
It was probably about 20 after 8 or so.
What steps did you take after that?
We began to call at some point family members that were listed on her paperwork.
What was in your mind at this point in time with regard to the fact that it's after 9 now and Christine hasn't shown up? And what were you thinking?
Well, even before 9, I mean, I was concerned because it wasn't like her. She was always consistent, always on time or before time. And so I was just hoping nothing had happened to her.
Did there come a point in time then in the day on now Monday, December the 2nd, I think you told us that you reached out to the Ansonia Police Department.
Yes, I did.
Did you recall approximately what time that was?
I don't know, maybe close to afternoon. I'm not sure.
I'm sorry?
Close to afternoon time. I'm not sure of the time.
Okay. And when you called the Ansonia Police Department, what if anything, did you make a request with regard to their services?
I did. Yes. Should I?
What did you request?
I asked them if there was a way that they could do sort of a wellness check to see if she was home, because we had not heard from her and she didn't show up for work.
And did they indicate to you that they would perform this welfare check?
Yes, they did.
And did there come a point in time that you heard back from the Ansonia Police Department?
Yes.
And were they able to locate Christine Holloway?
No.
After that return phone call from Ansonia Police, did you reach out to or attempt to reach out to Christine or to anybody else in any other way?
My assistant and I, we tried to contact. I'm sorry.
Witness could just testify to what she did and not what her assistant did, please.
Unless she has knowledge of what if she was there.
Hold on a moment. Let's start again. The question was, did you reach out? That basically is a yes or no. So why don't we start there? I'm going to strike any answer and we'll get an answer to the question. So did you reach out to anyone else was the question?
Yes.
There's more information in the question, but all right. So the answer is yes. Your follow-up, Attorney Stein?
And how did you reach out?
Facebook.
Did you message Christine Holloway?
I don't think I messaged Christine.
Who did you message?
Mr. Morales.
Did you ever receive a response to that message?
No.
I want to take you to Monday, December 2nd. Okay, this is the operative day that Christine didn't show up for work.
Yes.
Okay. I believe you testified that you had called Christine's cell phone. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And the records indicate that there were a whole number of phone calls, and were some of them made by you and some of them perhaps made by your assistant?
Possibly.
Okay. Well, I don't want to confuse you here. Let me go through what the phone records indicate.
Sure.
Would you tell me whether or not you recall whether or not you would have made a phone call to Christine's cell phone? Okay. All right.
Objection,
I
Your
could
Honor.
try.
He's going to read from a document, not in evidence.
I'm not reading from a document, not in
So, well,
evidence.
to the extent that we're talking about a record that contains phone calls, Attorney Gavin, it would be a document not in evidence. If you'd like to question her relevant to independent recollection or
Okay.
independent knowledge, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. Do you recall if you called Christine's cell phone at 8:43 in the morning on Monday, December 2nd, which would have been about 15 minutes after school had started?
I can't recall exact time, but I would have called her earlier that morning, yes, when she didn't show up.
Well, let me do it the easy way, okay? It's 5 years ago, and I know you don't know the exact times. Were there multiple phone calls to Christine's phone?
I'm sure we made several calls, yeah.
And just so the record's clear, you personally made calls, and when you say we, is that referring to your assistant?
Correct.
But you have a recollection of calling in the afternoon time frame to the Ansonia Police Department,
Absolutely.
right? And
Well,
that was, sorry.
at some point in time, whether it was afternoon or late morning, I'm not, again, the time, it eludes me at this point.
That's totally fine. I appreciate your candor. But certainly you have a recollection at some point during the course of the day, and it wasn't late in the evening,
No.
you had contacted the Ansonia Police Department and requested a record check. Is that correct?
A wellness check, yes.
A wellness check, correct? And was that at her residence at 6.5 Myrtle Avenue?
Yes.
Okay. And you asked them, could you please go? This is where our records indicate she resided.
Oh, I knew she resided there.
Okay.
Yes.
Had you been to 6.5 Myrtle?
Yes. Not inside, just driving by.
Just driving by.
Right before she actually moved in.
Right before she moved in. Okay, well, that was nice of you to go ahead and do that. So you called the Ansonia Police Department, requested the wellness check, and did they contact you back after that?
Yes, I asked them if they could call me back.
Okay. And did they do that?
They did.
That's great. Okay. But you didn't go up to 6.5 Myrtle on Monday, December 2nd, 2019.
No.
Thank you very much for your time. I have no other questions.
Thank you.
Okay, and Christine Holloway would be found dead.
So yeah, I'm gonna skip through. This is kind of structured how Court TV did the sleepwalking twins murder. If you didn't see that, it was all messed up. They didn't actually play the entire trial, and they were picking and choosing from parts, and it was just all sporadic, and it kind of reminds me of that. So sorry if this is the only videos and everything that I've seen for this, and I would rather watch it than not, but just know that they edited it down and they changed it up a little bit, so it might be a little bit more sporadic than normal trials that we are watching.
For a welfare check on a female and her infant daughter at a residence at 6.5 Myrtle Ave, and that the officer went there and was unable to make any contact with anybody at the residence.
And do you recall the name of the person that the earlier officer was checking for?
Yes,
And what's the person's name?
Christine Holloway.
So, after familiarizing yourself with the earlier actions by the department, did you speak with anybody at the Ansonia Police Department?
Yes, I did.
Now, just not what they said, but can you tell me who you met with at the Ansonia Police Department?
I met with a Stephen Holloway and a Jody Jacobellis.
And did they generally indicate that they were family members?
Yes, they did.
Did you take an interview from them at that time?
Yes, I did.
And in the course of an interview, were you able to retrieve contact information for Christine Holloway?
Yes, I was.
Did you obtain any other contact information?
Yes, I did.
What other contact information did you obtain?
I obtained contact information for Jose Morales, which was Christine Holloway's boyfriend.
After obtaining those two telephone numbers, can you tell us approximately what time it was by the time you had those telephone numbers?
It was approximately 8:19 p.m.
And are you aware of approximately what time the earlier welfare check cleared 6.5 Myrtle Ave?
Yes, I am.
Approximately what time had the earlier welfare check cleared?
12:45.
So this is it fair to say this is in excess of 8 hours after that earlier welfare check?
Yes.
Now that you had these telephone numbers, what steps, if any, did you take?
At first, I called the number that was provided to me for Christine Holloway's phone, and after one ring, it went straight to voicemail as if it were off or being ignored.
And after you made the initial call to Ms. Holloway's phone, did you take any further action?
Yes, I did.
And what did you do?
I dialed the number on a landline to Jose Morales' phone that was provided to me.
When you made the call, was there anybody else present with you at the time that you made the call?
Yes, there was.
Who?
Sergeant Barrera.
Who was Sergeant Barrera?
Sergeant Barrera was my supervisor for the evening.
And based upon a question that Sergeant Barrera asked, did anything happen with regard to Mr. Morales' answer?
Yes.
And what occurred?
He changed his answer from seeing her to only speaking with her on the phone.
So take us through that moment. What is it that you recall that happened? The question and the answer.
Sergeant Barrera asked what.
Sustained.
Based upon what he asked, what was the response from Mr. Morales?
That he only spoke with her this morning, and that he stayed at his house in New Haven and she stayed at her house in Ansonia.
And did you ask any follow-up questions at that point?
Yes.
And what did you ask him?
I asked him if it appeared odd that he hasn't spoken with her, that she has had no contact with him. I asked him, when's the last time you saw her, or when's the last time you spoke with her?
And let me ask you this. At the time of this telephone conversation, were you wearing a body camera?
Yes, I was.
I have a girl here that's saying that she's the sister of Christina Holloway.
All right.
Is that Christina your girlfriend?
Yeah.
Okay. She's saying that she couldn't contact her all day today. She said that she talked to you today, and that you said you saw her leave this morning.
I saw her leave early in the morning to go to work. That's about it.
Who was she with when she left?
2423. The baby.
Is that your baby as well?
Yes.
Okay. What does she drive?
Mazda Protege 2002.
2002 Mazda Protege. What color is it?
It's gold.
Gold?
Yeah.
Do you know who it's registered to?
It's registered to her.
Who has the Ford Fusion? Do you know? Or the Ford Focus?
No, I don't know.
Does she have another car, a black car?
No, not that I know.
Not that you know of. Do you have a key to her house?
No, I don't.
Do you know who her landlord is?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure. Did you talk to them at all today?
To whom?
Your Christina or your daughter?
I did first thing in the morning, early before she went to work.
What time did you talk to them?
6, 7 o'clock in the morning.
6 or 7?
Hey, this is Sergeant Barrera. I have a couple of questions myself. Is this seem odd to you that you haven't been able to talk to her all day today?
Why would it be that?
Because nobody could get a hold of her, she didn't show up at work, and she has your 1-year-old child with her?
Well, she usually goes to the, she's part of the color BS.
I'm sorry?
The color BS is so like the gist.
Yeah, no, we checked there too. She's not there. No text message at all between the two of you today?
I tried calling her a couple of times, but she hasn't answered. I tried calling her. I still wanted to give her some answer. We're straight to voicemail.
Almost like the phone's off?
Yeah, went to voicemail.
We're trying to find her because, like, everybody's concerned because they haven't talked to her. We're more concerned about, your daughter. Your daughter. How old's your daughter?
She's 1 year old.
What's her birthday?
I don't know. I knew about it. Some kids in New Haven.
Okay. What's your birthday, Jose?
Mine?
Yeah.
1976.
11/12/76?
Yeah. September 7th. Birthday.
Okay, September 7th. Okay. Do you know?
The baby.
Okay. All right. You don't know if, Christina has any, medical problems or any kind of, substance abuse problems, like alcohol or drugs or anything like that, right?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not that you're aware of? You don't know, does she have any friends?
She does, but I'm not really, I don't really know them like that.
I know. Do you know their names at least? Maybe I can try to find out who they are.
I don't tell my head. I have no idea.
Okay. All right. Hold on 1 second. Let me ask you.
He told you that she's driving a Mazda. If he wasn't with her, how does he know she's driving a Mazda? Jose.
Yeah.
You said she was driving a Mazda, correct?
Yeah.
But if you didn't see her today, how do we know she's driving a Mazda?
I didn't see her. I know she has a Mazda.
So, do you normally talk to her at night, like around now?
Around 9:30.
Like 9:30 to say goodnight to your daughter?
Yeah.
All right.
Send it back to her.
All right. Well, if she calls you at 9:30 for some reason, give us a call or tell her to give us a call or her sister a call so that we can, locate her, especially your daughter. We're really worried about your daughter.
Okay. Will do.
All right, sir?
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Have a good day.
You too, bye-bye.
So Mr. Morales' stories kept on changing. This is part of what's being...
All right, so we can skip ahead.
We just haven't aired it yet. So there's a defendant. His name's Jose Morales. He's being accused of murdering his girlfriend.
Based on what you learned in that phone call?
Yes, I did.
Okay, all right. And then did you stay at the Ansonia PD at that point?
No, I did not.
Okay. Did you go and ask Jody Jacobellis and Stephen Holloway to wait at the lobby there?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And eventually, I know that you testified that you went to 6.5 Myrtle. Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
And then you went over to 6.5 Myrtle.
Correct.
Right? And Sergeant Barrera, I take it, would have made his way to 6.5 Myrtle before you got there.
Yes.
So when you arrived, he was already there.
Correct.
And he was there with another officer, correct?
Yes, he was.
And that's Officer Nelson, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and did you see them at that point?
I saw them on the exterior of the residence.
Okay, great. So you spoke to them. Did you do a neighborhood canvass late in the evening there on Monday, December 2nd, 2019?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and just tell us, what did you do when you got there?
I arrived on scene. I spoke with Sergeant Barrera, who updated me on things that he located, and he then told me to conduct a neighborhood canvass of the neighbors that are there, to speak with them to see if they had seen Christine, the baby, or Jose that day.
Okay. And can you tell us what the weather conditions were like when you got there?
It was snowing, and we had several inches of snow on the ground.
Okay. And then when you say neighborhood canvass, was that you going up and down the side streets and Myrtle Avenue to see if there were any neighbors that were there?
Yes, we'd go door to door, knock on the door, hope for someone to come to the door so that we could speak with them to see if they had seen, heard, or know anything about the people whom we are looking for.
Were you aware when you conducted the canvass that the body of Christine Holloway was found in the residence of 6.5 Myrtle?
Yes, I was.
Okay. I have no other questions. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Officer.
Attorney Stein, any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor, just one brief
You
question.
may proceed.
During this canvass, Officer Smith, in addition to asking the questions that you were asked, did you ask anything about cameras, ring cameras, or any other surveillance systems that people in the neighborhood might have had?
Yes, I did.
Is that part of the standard questions that you would be asking, or other officers would be asking when you're doing a canvass such as this?
Yes, it is.
And if the people have cameras, is that something that you would ultimately record in a report?
Yes.
For follow-up by some other officer?
Yes.
No other questions. Thank you, Your Honor.
When we come back, we're going to hear from another witness who had a phone call with the defendant. Remember, the ever-changing...
I do not like when court TV or other programs do the trials like this one, but this is their way of being able to squeeze in all of the trials, and so I get it.
And did you make any assumptions based on that statement?
Yes, I assumed that they were together, and I was trying to ascertain what time they got to the house that evening prior.
And at some point in time, did Mr. Morales change that earlier statement?
Yes, he did.
And what did he indicate to you?
He now indicated that he didn't see them on Monday morning, that in fact that he only spoke to them, and that the last time he did see them was on Friday.
When the conversation ended, what, if anything, did you do next?
At this point, I advised Officer Smith that I was going to be heading to 6.5 Myrtle Ave with Officer Nelson there. I wanted to see the residence for myself.
And can you describe the conditions at the time once you left the Ansonia Police Department?
That night it was actively snowing. It had snowed for several hours. When I arrived on scene, there was some accumulation of snow already.
When you arrived on the scene there, what observations did you make?
On the front door, we observed a note left behind by Christine Holloway's family asking her to contact them when she returned home. We also noticed that that there was 2 locks on the door, a deadbolt and a knob.
Well, let me ask you this. When you got to the scene, did you meet with Officer Nelson?
I did.
And was Officer Nelson there before or after you arrived?
Officer Nelson was there prior.
Okay. And did Officer Nelson point anything out to you upon your arrival?
He did. He pointed out a skylight that was left open to the front of the house.
And is it at that point in time that you approached the doorway to 6.5 Myrtle?
It is.
Showing you what has been marked as stage 4. Can you tell me, do you generally recognize what this is?
Yes, it's a photo of 6.5 Myrtle Ave taken from the street view.
Can you tell me what you recognize that to be?
That is the front door of 6.5 Myrtle Ave.
It's a little grainy. Are you able to see the skylight right in here?
Yes.
And what do you recognize this to be?
Those are the 3-car garage that are located beneath 6.5 Myrtle Ave toward the rear of the property.
Did you make an observation with regard to this window that is above the center bay there?
I did.
And what did you...
Okay, we're going to hear the observation about the window in just a couple of minutes. I'm going to bring back in Attorney Franz Borchardt.
I proceeded to go in first. Officer Nelson followed behind. When I proceeded straight through, Officer Nelson went to my left. Directly on my right-hand side, I observed a crib and a rocking chair. When I shined my light inside that crib, I noticed there was no sheets or bedding on that crib. I proceeded to go into the living room where I noticed the ceiling fan was left on and it was set at high. I continued into the bedroom of that residence and noticed again that bed had no sheets or blankets on it. At this point, Officer Nelson, I could hear yell something to the effect of, "Oh, oh," and it was coming from the bathroom area. At this point, I immediately proceeded to the bathroom. When I walked into the bathroom, I noticed in the tub a pale, naked female body laying in there. Next to her was what appeared to be a human internal organ, now laying outside her body next to her in the tub. Her hands were also covered with what appeared to be dry blood.
Once you made that observation, did you give any instructions to Officer Nelson?
Officer Nelson and I both backed out of the bathroom. I advised him to continue to clear that residence and to look for the baby.
Did you and Officer Nelson continue to try to clear this apartment?
We did. We continued.
And did you make any observations while you were there?
Yes. In the living room on the carpet next to the crib was a large dry blood stain. It was very faint, almost like it appeared to have been recently washed.
Had you noticed it when you came in?
I did not.
Did you continue to look around the apartment for the child?
Yes, we did.
Were you able to find the child?
No, I was not.
When you ended up clearing the apartment, what further steps did you take after that?
Once we cleared it, I had Officer Nelson and I retreat from the residence to secure that crime scene.
And during this entry, were you wearing your department-issued body-worn camera?
Yes, I was.
Please just to try to make contact with that number 6.5 Myrtle Ave. They came out, they said no car was in the driveway, no car was here. And then yeah, but there's no mail in the mailbox, I don't think. There's no mail in her bed. Yep, nobody's home. Well, we can't find. They're back here. Like, listen, she's a mother of a 1-year-old. She always shows up at work. She always contacts us. We haven't heard from her. This is really, really bad. We have a bad feeling. Talked to the boyfriend. Boyfriend says I haven't seen her. I haven't talked to her all day. I talked to her in the morning, but I haven't seen her. We just get to the house now. There's a couple windows open on the second floor, which is really odd because obviously it's freezing out. I had him do a neighborhood canvas. One of the neighbors said, "Hey, I saw him drive her car out of here this afternoon." I can't get into the house. I'm gonna kick in the door in a minute. But I called Steve out just to let you know. All right. Okay, goodbye. Okay, my camera's been on. All right, do you want to?
What do you want to do? I mean, you can try to knock it one more time and then just move it.
No, hold it. 4-3. Right off this. We're going to attempt to make entry. Police department!
Please.
Police department!
Oh,
What?
holy get the DB in here. Holy
Okay. Find it.
back out.
No, clear the room. Clear the house. Four 3 to D2. I'm gonna need you here. Okay. Kelly, clear. I need the bed searched, please, under the bed. No kid. No kid. Exit. Exit. Yeah. Okay, exit. Do me a favor. Go talk to that neighbor. Give me all the information you can get.
Okay. What do you want me to just say? Just keep it.
Just
No information?
no information. You just want to try to confirm it. Sweetie, go do a neighborhood canvas, please. Yep, neighborhood canvas, names, times, cameras, anything we could get.
Just as that clip ended, you were pacing on that deck and you were walking towards, there was a window on your right.
Yes.
First of all, with regard to the position of the skylight, after you made entry, did you become aware of what what room the skylight was in?
Yes, it was in the bathroom.
Was that window that you were just standing by when the camera went off, would that been the exterior bathroom window?
Correct, it was.
When you first entered in to the property, into the actual apartment itself, you mentioned that you were aware that the ceiling fan was on and was on hot.
Yes.
I'm sure you noted that. Well, why did you note that in your report?
Because it was extremely cold out, windows were open, and no need to have a fan on in residence when it was that cold.
When you reviewed your body camera, did you notice candles around the apartment?
I did.
Did you point out that there were candles burning in the apartment when you made entry?
I did not.
Well, you didn't put it in your report.
Correct.
Did you see it on your body camera when you were reviewing your body camera?
Yes.
So you're the patrol supervisor back on Monday, December 2nd, 2019, correct?
Yes, I was.
Okay, and would Officer Smith report to you, sir, back on December 2nd? Were you his immediate supervisor?
Yes, I was.
And how about Officer Nelson?
As well.
Okay, great. So was you chartered to go ahead and stay at the police department on the afternoon shift from 3 to 11, or were you out on patrol yourself?
We do both.
You did both. Okay. Were you out on patrol that day?
At some point that day I was.
Okay. All right. What was it that brought you back to the police station for the phone call that Officer Smith made?
When Officer Smith came in for that phone call, I was already present at the police department.
Okay. So I just want to go slow. So you came in, 3 to 11 shift, you were out on patrol, you had come back to the police station when Officer Smith was there.
Correct. When Officer Smith came in, I was already present.
Okay, great. Do you know who Jody Jacobellis is?
I know the name, but I know the name.
Okay. I'm going to ask you one other name. Stephen Holloway. Do you know who that is?
I know the name.
Okay. Did you interview Jody Jacobellis or Stephen Holloway prior to the phone call that was made to New Haven, Connecticut between you and Officer Smith?
I did not.
So you got there. Was Jose Morales located at 105 First Avenue in New Haven that evening? It would have been Tuesday morning now, the 3rd. Was he there?
I don't know if he, I was not, I don't know if he was there when I got there.
Okay. Why don't you explain to us what you did when you got to 105 First Avenue?
So when I was dispatched to go there, it was to actually transport Jose Morales back there. It wasn't the initial call.
All right.
If that makes any sense.
Okay, let's go slow.
Yep.
So someone directed you to go to New Haven rather than go back to the Ansonia Police Department, correct?
No. From 6 Myrtle Ave, I went back to the Ansonia Police Department.
Okay, and how long were you there at the police department?
Probably a few hours.
2 hours, okay.
A few hours, yep.
A few hours, okay. I'm not trying to
I know you're
watch in the exact minute. All right. So you're at the Ansonia Police Department. What caused you to travel to New Haven?
They needed, the DB needed assistance, which is the Detective Bureau, to transport Jose Morales back home.
Okay. Transport him back home from where to where?
From the Ansonia Police Department back to his residence.
Okay. And when you were at the Ansonia Police Department for 2 hours, was that the time frame that Mr. Morales had voluntarily gone to the police department and given a statement to the detectives?
That I don't know.
You don't know if he was there?
I don't know if he went, how he got there, or if he was there voluntarily.
Okay. Did you participate in the interview at all?
I did not.
Okay. And as you sit here right now, you have no idea how he got to the Ansonia Police Department?
I do not.
Oh, interesting. After you left on the morning of Tuesday, December 3rd, 2019, did you ever return to 105 First Avenue, sir?
No.
You never went back there?
From the time I left, I did not make my way back there, no.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this so we're on the same page. Do you remember what time it was that you left?
I don't recall the time I left.
Okay. Was it the afternoon? Was it late in the evening?
I would say later in the afternoon.
Later in the afternoon. Did you assist in the execution of a search and seizure warrant?
Same objection, Your Honor.
I'll allow the answer.
I'm sorry?
You can answer.
Yeah.
I did.
You did? Okay. And what was your responsibility in the execution of the search and seizure warrant?
To assist with the search.
Okay. And tell us in your own words, what'd you do?
I searched, from my recollection, the basement bedroom.
Okay. In the basement of 105 First Avenue.
Correct.
Okay. And anybody assist you in that endeavor?
There were other detectives there, yes.
Okay. And they were searching that area as well?
Correct.
Okay. Did you recover any evidence at that point?
Not that I recall.
Okay. Was there an evidence officer there in case somebody recovered something that it would be turned over to the evidence officer?
That would have been the detectives.
That would have been the detectives. Okay.
Yes.
And your recollection as you sit here is you didn't find anything that you turned over to those
Correct.
detectives?
I don't recall that.
Thanks. I have no other questions. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
All right, time for the next witness. We're going to hit a break first. When we come back, we'll hear from victim Christine.
It's pretty commendable that, fight or flight kicks in, and there we see the two officers going into the house, walking around, and they found her body in the bathtub. And the one officer starts kind of freaking out and saying, "We need to get out." And he said, "No, we need to finish casing just to make sure that there is nobody else there, no one else is in danger or being held against their will." And yeah, it was pretty interesting to see that, and good for him for following through on his training and doing what he is supposed to be doing.
Minutes knocking, and I saw him get in his car and leave.
Okay. And how long was the officer there?
Probably 10, 15 minutes, I guess, at the door.
Okay. And do you were you looking at any clocks at that point in time?
No.
Okay. So do you have any idea what time of the day it was?
I believe it was around 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Now, at some point in time, you indicated that the officer left.
Yes.
Did you make any observations with regard to 6.5 Myrtle after you saw the officer leave?
About 20 minutes or so after he left, I saw Jose come down the ramp, head across the street towards his car.
All right. And where were you when you made that observation?
At first, I was inside, but I was getting ready to go out because it snowed lightly, and I was going out to clear the steps. And while I was out there, Jose came back up, and he was heading back into 6.5 Myrtle Avenue.
All right. So I'm just making sure I have this right. So when you see the officer leave and you see Jose leave, how long after the officer left?
Approximately 20 minutes.
Okay. When you first see Jose come out, is that what you're saying?
Yep, coming down, heading down the ramp towards the street.
Where are you when you make that observation?
I was in my living room.
Okay. And would that be, there's a window that faces there?
Correct. That's the window I saw him through.
And going step by step, at that time that you saw him, did you notice anything about him?
I couldn't really see a lot of him. I recognized him, and he was heading down the ramp. It looked like he was carrying something, but it was down in his hand, so I didn't know for sure if he was. And I wasn't really that interested because, it's Jose. He lives there, and he's just, leaving his house.
Okay. And did you see anybody else with him as he was walking down the ramp?
No, I did not.
Did you see Christine Holloway?
No, I did not.
Are you aware of whether Christine Holloway has a child?
Yes.
Did you see the child?
No, I did not.
Now, with regard to in this moment in time, he's walking down the ramp, possibly carrying something. What do you observe him do?
He just went across the street to his car.
Okay, and when he got to his car, what did he do?
Well, the actual moments he was at his car is when I was putting on my jacket to go outside to sweep, so I didn't see if he put something in the car, what he would have put in the car if he did, and then he was heading back up towards the house.
Now, when you referred to a car, again, still on photograph 11, is this the car that you saw him walk to?
Yes, it is.
And when you went outside to start clearing the snow, where was Mr. Morales?
He was heading back up the ramp, and actually, I think on the porch itself. And I said to him, like I said, it was free casual. I said, I'm already tired of this winter with the snow. And he said, well, it's just beginning. And then he went inside.
Okay. And so there was at least a brief exchange between the two of you at that point in time?
Yes, there was.
Now, at some point in time, did you make any further observations about Mr. Morales?
A little while later, he came out again, went into his car, and left.
And where were you when you saw that?
I was back in the house, and I saw him through the window again.
Okay. And which car did he leave in?
That gold-colored car you described, that one right in the corner of the picture.
Okay. And with regard to, was there any other cars that you had observed parked on the street at that point in time?
There was a dark color or black car parked right behind his.
Okay. Now, with regard to his car, did you make any observations as Mr. Morales was departing in that car?
I heard the car start because the muffler's kind of loud, and seemed like he pulled up maybe 10 feet or so. I don't know if it stalled or if he stopped to look at something, and then he drove away.
Did there come a point in time on this date where anything else that you noticed, anything else happening on Myrtle Ave?
Yeah, so as I said, heavy police presence. Police officer from Manson, you came over and talked to us again later that evening to ask if we had seen anything.
And did you speak to the officer?
Yes, I did.
Did you tell the officer in sum and substance what you have just told this jury?
Yes, I did.
And did there come a point in time that they showed you 8 separate photos, one at a time, and asked you if you were able to identify the person that you knew as Jose, who lived next door to you at 6.5 Myrtle?
Yes, he did ask that.
And did you look through each of the photographs?
Yes, I did.
And did there come a point in time where you stopped and identified a photograph of a person that you know as Jose Morales?
Yes, I did.
Showing you page 3 of this exhibit. Does this appear to be the photograph that you recall?
Yes, it does.
You know, and Mr. Morales, he had been telling police he was staying with his buddy.
Now I'm going to take you towards the evening hours. It's dark outside, okay? It's still snowing, all right? It's still Monday. Did a police officer come and knock on your door by the name of Officer Nelson and ask you if you had seen anything that day in the neighborhood?
Yes, I believe. I'm not sure about the officer's name, but they did come back and ask me actually if I had seen anybody leave that 6.5 address.
Right. And you talked to that officer, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the snow continued. And am I not correct that that night on Monday the 2nd, the officer came back a second time to talk to you?
Right. Like I said, they came several times once I had spoken to him and said I saw him leave the house.
Okay. I want to just go through that so that I understand. Is it your testimony that multiple officers during the course of the night came to you?
To be honest with you, I couldn't tell you how many officers came to me. I spoke to the police, and then eventually I talked to Detective Esposito, their names, and in between, the timing.
Okay. I know it was 5 years ago. I understand that. You testified that evening you went to the Ansonia Police Department and you looked at the photo array that was just marked as Exhibit 11.
I believe that was the next evening when I finally met with Detective Esposito down at the station.
Okay.
We have to look at the form and check the date, but I believe that was the next night when I actually got to that point.
You had told us that it was the evening of the 2nd. Now you're saying it's the evening of the 3rd.
I misspoke. It was the evening of the 3rd, I believe, that we actually got, that I was down at the police station.
And do you know a fellow named Jose Bourdet?
I know other Jose's. The last name I'm not sure about.
The neighbor across the street?
Okay, there is a Jose that lives directly across the street from me.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure of his last name.
That's okay, right? And his wife, Anna?
Yeah.
Yep, okay. So when you were talking to the police officers the second time, when they came back to you, isn't it correct that Mr. Bourdet came over and joined the conversation with you?
I don't remember him coming over at that time, but...
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. The homeowner, Denise Hunt, right? Did she come down? Was she interviewed by the police officers? Do you know?
I have no idea.
My recollection is, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but my recollection is that you were talking to the police officers and Miss Hunt was standing right next to you.
Okay, if that's what you say, but like I said, when I talked to the police officer, I was speaking to the police officer, told him what that I saw him leave, And if Denise was down at the time, then she was there, but
That's all I'm trying to confirm with you. When you were talking to the police officer the second time, Ms. Hunt came from the second floor and she joined in that conversation. Is that correct?
not that I remember, but I was talking to the police officers. That was what I was focused on.
I respect that. I understand you were talking to a police officer and they were doing an investigation and you wanted to be cooperative with the police, right?
Right.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You're a retired postal worker, right? Okay. Do you recall ever seeing Denise Hunt down?
I'm going to object, Your Honor. It's been asked 3 times. His recollection is he does not
Overruled.
recall.
You can ask the question. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you recall Denise Hunt being down there with you when you were talking to the police officers?
No, I don't, but that doesn't mean she wasn't there, but she could have been standing on the porch the whole time. It's her porch.
Sure. Sure. She owns the house.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So now you testified that Detective Richard Esposito made contact with you, correct?
Correct.
Did you know him prior to that evening?
No, I did not.
Okay. And is it your recollection that that was the following day, Tuesday, that Detective Esposito came?
I believe the day I went down and signed the identification was Tuesday the 3rd.
Tuesday. the
If I
3rd.
had spoken to Detective Esposito that night, like I said, several officers were in and out, and then maybe said, well, tomorrow we'll get together and go over your statement. But
Terrific. So, would you agree with me that what happened was the following day on Tuesday, you went down to the Ansonia Police Department? I can show you the exhibit. I will if you want it. But that was December 3rd that you went
I
down.
believe that the day I signed this, identified the picture and signed, I believe was the 3rd.
Right. And there was no doubt that that was Jose Morales.
Not in my mind.
No, you've known him for a couple of years, correct?
Right.
Okay. And when Mr. Morales came out of the apartment, he wasn't trying to hide from you. He had a conversation with you, correct?
He had the conversation as he was heading into it, but no, he wasn't appeared to be hiding from anybody.
He didn't see him run back into the apartment or something like that.
No, he walked up to.
You know. Had you ever had occasion to call the police regarding your neighbors, Christine Holloway and Jose Morales, at any time?
No, I did not.
I have no other questions.
All right, so that was basically all of day one. That went by a lot faster than I thought it was going to. Because of their own editing, I feel like it was just ready to go. I didn't have to do much editing work or crop anything. I'm going to play this in the background while I'm talking. I got a kick at this last part where an attorney kept wanting to stand up and object. And he kept standing up, but he wouldn't object. And then I think on the 3rd time he stood up, he finally objected and then was denied immediately from the judge. And I just thought the whole interaction was pretty funny. So yeah, since we got done with day one, I would normally just go ahead and go to day 2. But Lori's is going to be in about an hour, 20 minutes maybe. So maybe I'll do that tomorrow. I have a few things that I'm working on that I'll probably just sit here and do some work for that and then be early for Lori's. This is one of the times that he stood up and then he decided not to and he sat back down. All right, well, if you've been with me, let me know what you think of this. If there's any other trials on during the morning like this that we can be tuning into before Lori's. Currently, we'll just stick with this one and see how this week goes. All right, thank you for watching. I will be back on shortly.